Hello, YouTube. Haven't went live in a couple weeks, maybe a month. Um, just wanted to come on here and my thoughts on the arrests of Trezell and Jacqueline West. Thank the Lord, finally. But it's bittersweet because knowing that the boys are deceased. To me, what bothers me, why is I know there's no remains, no bodies. But why are they charged with second degree if it was methodically planned? So if it was premeditated, it should be first degree. That's what I'm thinking. And to me, I think a lot of other people should be arrested, like some of the Jamal. Who else? The both sets of grandparents. The the Vasquez and the Wests, because they knew there was domestic violence. They knew that Jacqueline was being abused. They knew that boys were being abused by Trezell. And I have a feeling that his weapon of choice would probably be a stick, because you see him walking with a stick with his dog Chalk, or Chalka. I think that's what his name is, because when AV Steve said Chalk, the dog just lifted his head, so he probably is called Chalk, probably for a nickname. I don't know how they could afford to adopt two kids. Well, people were confused if the other two, the eldest, were um, foster, but they were adopted. And basically, yes, the biological mother of the eldest two, they have no rights. She has no rights to them, but I mean, she's still their mother. I know on a legal standpoint, no, but it's like when you want to terminate someone's parental rights, you better have some damn good reasons to. And most of the time, there's never a good reason to terminate someone's parental rights. Parents have been screwed over up, left, and right, and so have children. The Gabriel Hernandez story. I mean, a police officer threatened him if you make any more like outcries and stuff like that. This kid was probably scared shitless if he ever spoke. There was family that were willing to take him in. They should have kept him with his uncle and his uncle's partner. I don't know why they had to remove Gabriel from them, but there was no reason to. The thing that really bothers me about this case is a lot of people did spread misinformation around. There was a woman who was doxxed, who people thought that she was the mother of Jacqueline, which she was not. She was a Vasquez. She could be a relative, like an aunt, a cousin. But as far as we know, she has been harassed a lot, like in the beginning of this case. And I'm glad some people could see through some of the bullshit that people were creating. Like boots on the ground, I mean, a lot of rumors were spread about them, like saying, "Oh, this is this person. So and so was arrested for this and that," which wasn't true. I'm not gonna mention any names because it's not my business. So many lives were destroyed. I mean, the mother is probably beside herself. The father's beside herself. Each, every single person in that family is probably heartbroken, angry to the fact that they've been deceased since September of 2020. It was planned, and they covered it up. She wanted to send a Christmas gift to her kids. This was of 2019. They were already adopted out, but she wanted to send her kids gifts. There was no reason for DCFS to terminate her parental rights. There was no damn reason to. The corruption goes deep. We need more documentaries to show how screwed and effed up the family court system is. To me, the most corrupt family courts, I'm gonna name a few, would probably be like Illinois. Let's see, probably I'm not sure about New York, but California, Texas, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. It's a circus. Corn-reported attorneys don't do shit. You ask them to do something, they won't. They basically side with the department, which really makes me sick. When there's no abuse, there's no proof of anything, then case closed. If you have a problem with someone's parenting, you don't just make an allegation to CPS just to make someone suffer. People have done it to be petty, just to prove a point. You pick up the phone and you make something so believable that some people believe it. And yeah, some kids who are former foster youth, they're like wards of the state ever since they probably were a newborn. They say if you have kids in the future, we're going to take those kids too. And people say that's not true. Well, it happens. Even if it may not be true, it happens. So it is true. And there are people who say there's no such thing as medical kidnapping. Yes, there is. There was no proof that it's hospitals do that to get money. Phoenix Children's Hospital is guilty of it. Middlesex Hospital of Middletown, Connecticut is guilty of that. And thankfully, the parents got their daughter back, fighting for almost 2.5 years. California needs to change. CPS workers, you need to follow your own policies and procedures. You need to stop coming into people's homes without a warrant or a court order. And shame on you, and shame on the police officers for basically going along with it and knowing what they're doing is against the law and against their own policies and procedures. To me, the best thing to do if you come to their house for a removal or just wanted to see the children, you have no warrant, and you threaten to kick down the door. Well, I would threaten, I'll call your supervisor or your boss, like the chief of that county. Usually, the chief of police will actually follow the law and basically hand you your ass. Because there are good police officers out there that will follow the law, who probably would refuse to work with CPS to kidnap children. They kidnap children who don't need to be removed, who probably are not being abused, and you probably put them in a home where they were basically afraid of. Usually it's mostly protective parents. One protective parent is trying to get full sole custody and get that parent out of this person's life because they're so abusive and toxic. It's terrible. I would tell this person, if you have if in it's like so many outcries of abuse, and yet you think, oh, if you don't do this, then you're in contempt of court. It's like they say, if you don't do as I say, then you're screwed. Courts shouldn't have that power to threaten parents with that. To me, it's a threat of someone's rights to protect their children. When a parent is that abusive, physically, sexually, and mentally, and it's like they see their kids deteriorating mentally and basically contemplate taking their life because of the abuse, saying, why won't it stop? Why won't it stop? And you feel guilty for having to send your kid over the weekend to see their abuser and to be abused again and again and again. California has a very, very, very good track record of protecting abusers, pedophiles. Probably because the judges are probably pedophiles themselves, or they're too damn stupid to get their head out of their butt. This is why CPS needs to be reformed. Not demolished, reformed. New workers, an agency that oversees CPS and basically probably reprimands them when they do something they're not supposed to. There's been so many caseworkers that have been arrested for drug use, child pornography, assault. There was one where this one was pimping out a mother saying, oh, you can get more visits if you do this for me. It's disgusting. And there's been caseworkers arrested for falsifying records, saying that they've been to the house when they haven't, or falsifying records on a parent. And the most ridiculous thing that I've heard is predictive neglect. It's one of the worst things to be accused of because it doesn't exist. It shouldn't exist. I don't know why it exists, but it exists. It's witchcraft. That's what they use in the UK. It's called the crystal ball method. The UK is just as bad. They adopt kids too quickly. They take kids too quickly. They don't investigate. They just take kids. It's probably because of the Peter Conley case. This was back in 2007. Yes, they failed this little boy. There was probably other family members that were willing to adopt him, or they could have looked for the biological father who was probably looking for his son. Arthur Labanio Hughes. When his mother was in prison, he was in the custody of his maternal grandmother, but basically she had to hand him over to the father, who was abusive. His fiance, also abusive. They would eat McDonald's ice cream in front of him. They starved him. They refused to feed him. Social services didn't do a damn thing for that child. And now he's dead because of their neglect And if they would have removed Arthur from the home and placed him back with the grandmother. To me, I think CPS doesn't like being told the word no. That's their superiority complex. They act like the sovereign citizen. They think they have sovereign immunity just because they're a state worker. No, they don't. When they screw shit up, when they F up, there's consequences to that. Social workers should be charged for kidnapping. It is kidnapping when they don't have a court order. They say it's legal, but once you look at it legal standpoint, it's illegal. They take kids from parents of disabilities, for basically weed, even if it's illegal and they have a freaking card. There's no reason to remove a child for freaking marijuana. It's ridiculous. I would, if there was a cop and CPS there, I would just shut the door in their face. Not hard, but I would say, I'm sorry, but I'm not answering my door. I refuse to cooperate with terrorists. That's what they are. They terrorize families, they rip them apart, and they leave kids in abusive homes. They do the exact opposite what they're supposed to do. I am so tired of seeing children and families hurt, children die at the hands of one abusive parent or an abusive adoptive parent or foster parent. Reunification can be a good thing, but it also can be bad. When a child has to reunify with one abusive parent but would rather stay with the parent that keeps them safe. To force a kid, it's like when a kid is begging on their knees, please do not send me back there. It's like it tugs at your heartstrings. If I were a family court judge, I would listen to the child. Even if the child is 5, 6 years old, I would listen to that child. I don't care. If a child is saying that is being hurt, and you can tell, if you can see the pain in the child's eyes, you know that this child is not lying. Why would any child lie about being sexually abused or physically abused? Yes, kids do lie about being physically abused, but it's usually because when they're teenagers to get their way, but that's mostly the case if that is the case. Even Brian Dean said in her interview that that her youngest boys, didn't like the West. She didn't know them. It's like a lot of people kept making stuff up saying that she knew them personally. And that Trezell dated Ryan Dean, which is stupid. These rumors were never true. So many rumors have come out in different missing child's cases. It's ridiculous. You can't tell what's real or what's fake. Thank you guys for watching.